Hey, hey, hey. Let's get into another live game. So, aerial spec looks amazing. Instant pick. Fortified. Steel balls. All looking pretty good. He's not going to get marksman round one. I think we get the fangs just because he's got the arc lights already. I'm liking 3 squares in right now for the arc lights. Opponent does some aggro, split aggro. It's a pretty good positioning. Not super hard to deal with. Doesn't look like we lose a single storm. Usually when we win round one like this, it's just gonna snowball once we introduce the rays. Wasps look pretty good. The badger looks good because we can ignite the fire, but because he's got his units split, igniting the fire isn't gonna do that much. I think we just go for the wasp. Unfortunately, okay, we're aerial spec, so we can still go for the rays. I really hate it when we get the unit 2 round drops because it sometimes delays getting the raise. It forces you to sell the drop, which is not ideal. Let's try this. Opponent goes into the Badgers, which is kind of interesting because we don't have crawlers yet, and we're not buying more chaff either. So seems like it's a very good result for us. We will end up losing both towers, but the opponent has nothing to shoot up, so the entire air army will clean up. Probably gonna get levels now from the Fire Badger. Missile Strike is good for the opponent. He can Missile Strike the Wasps. I don't think we need intensive training. We barely have enough money to keep upgrading and getting more rays. We could probably save the Missile Strike for the next round after he places the AA. But I kind of feel like we don't really have that much money to work with. We're gonna start selling these storm crawlers now, so and let's just get this and sell the stormcrawler. I feel like we don't upgrade the wasp because it's gonna get missile strike this round probably. We're gonna go for more rays. Think we start getting more arc lights. We could always upgrade the towers now as well. That could be pretty good. Opponent's AA is actually a Wraith. The Wraith is not scary at all for us. Our rays will destroy the Wraith. We will end up getting shield as the first tech, so the rays do 40% more damage. Getting the level on the tower actually seems pretty smart, because I'm not sure if we would have lost the tower, but we would have come close. Contemplating going portable shield on the Wasp, but probably too much of a investment. We're gonna get cloak and sell out the storm. 2 more rays. Seeing the Wraith makes me less eager about the Wasp, because the Wraith will kill the Wasp pretty easily until we get multiple upgrades. I wonder if we get a Arc Light just for Chaff Clear. Probably want to put it back a little bit. The missile isn't really going to do anything for us, so let's just keep banking it. Since we're aerial spec, let's start unlocking the problematic counters so they don't show up in the drop. We see Wraiths with range. That's not scary at all. It would be scary if we were going Wasps, but with the rays, it's practically meaningless. We will end up getting shield on the Phantom Rays at some point. Opponent goes shield item on the level 1 Wraith, but really this is not scary at all. He really needs like a level 4 Wraith with healing and an item for it to be even scary at this point, but he's still... We don't go super heavy armor since we're only level 2 on the rays. Smoke bomb doesn't make sense. Electromagnetic impact kind of makes sense. We could slightly disable the Wraiths, but it doesn't do much for us. We could just get it and bank it for when we need it. Not quite sure. Maybe for the 100 it is worth it, so... Yeah, let's just get it and see what happens. Not sure if we need range quite yet on the arc lights. The arc lights are just gonna get stuck on the balls more. We've got 600. We could get shield now. We could get burst as well. I think we'll just play it nice and clean with the shield. Nothing really here to sell. We'll keep the Wasps around. Let's unlock the Overlord so it doesn't show up in the drop. Should really use it, but I mean we're kind of not worried about these Wraiths, and just even if they come closer, the range isn't really an issue. So opponent goes suck on the steel ball, which is surprising because like we don't have any more ground units. It's almost shocking to see that. maybe they could suck the HP from the tower, but and get a little bit of extra HP, but that's not. He seems like a bad tech. Now, the Wraiths are cleaning up on the left side here. There's just so many rays left over. The amount of chaff is kind of annoying, but could actually go exploding rhinos, just for fun. We do end up getting, I think, the most value besides the hounds, but there's too many packs of hounds. Hounds would be quite nice to set some fires, actually. You could set some fires onto the initial packs of the units, so that could be a pretty good idea. Exploding 48 damage, so the explosion could be quite nice actually as well. We could probably end the game with the explosion and yeah. Let me just try that for fun. So this here, this here. Maybe EMP. I don't want to EMP my own unit, so not quite sure about that. Let's get more Phantom Rays. We will end up borrowing. I think we get another Phantom Ray. We get the armor just so that the exploding rhino can do a little bit more damage. Okay, now we see a pretty good counter to the rays in the form of the marksman. We have 3 level 3 marksmen, that's pretty scary. The exploding rhinos did a lot, so I think we're good. And I think there's probably have too many units left over that probably just gonna win the game right here. The rhino was kind of a risky play. Unfortunately, we don't win the game, so it's starting to get a little concerning. We could expect EMP coming out from the marksman to disable the rhino. We could do photon coating to counter that, but kind of don't want to keep wasting money. Maybe let's just disable. Lightning Storm is really good for my opponent. Let's pick it. Let's pick it for us as well. Probably gonna be a couple shield bubbles here. Shield bubble here, shield bubble here. I think we're mainly just concerned about maybe this shield bubble, so I also like to disable this here, so maybe we do something like this. Actually, I kind of want to make sure we bust the shield bubble. I think we could sell the wasp now. Let's get more rays. For the range and another ray. No EMP yet, which is pretty interesting. Usually you'd get the EMP after seeing the exploding rhino. The explosion does take down the shield, but one marksman is still alive. pretty bad tower debuff for us, but the quantity of rays is just it's there's so many rays over it's hilarious, and I think this showcases how strong going pure ray can be. Now I think there were a lot of mistakes made from the opponent's perspective. Wraiths do not do well into Phantom Rays. I have lost actually to Wraith before, maybe once or twice. Very high level Wraith with a couple techs on it. Getting upgraded. Being Schubert tanky, they could actually be pretty effective, but I'd say if you just keep investing in Wraiths and Wraith techs, and I just keep going Phantom Ray and Phantom techs, it should be a pretty clear win for the Ray. Last second marksman with no techs, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Putting down the fangs kind of as a barrier, I'm not sure what the purpose of that was. The fangs are just going to get exploded. The final blitz tech is kind of something that you do when you're desperate or you do when you're super ahead. Had you probably don't do it in the middle of the game where it's 50-50 because you could get countered pretty hard with the hacker or well I guess you want the opponent to go hacker if you're going all air, but an EMP on the marksman or perhaps an arc light can nullify the 250 spent on the final blitz, and that's kind of the waste because the rhinos will usually have to get sold after they get countered, and you don't get the money back for the final blitz. But I felt like in this case, since everything was so compact and they would get a nice connection. I guess here it's not really, you know, 48 range on the explosion versus, well, he's got 85 now, so yeah, maybe this is enough for kind of to protect the steel balls a bit. So I can see now why he did that, but I think, yeah, I do think the Rhino probably was a smart play because we did get it from the drop. And the first round we took it, we just devastated the enemy and then he was forced to respond to it with the deployments of the Fang. So forcing him to use up his deployments on just defending this instead of investing more into marksman or maybe teching the Wraith or going AA Wasp was I think was good, but it's not going to happen like that every game. On our end, we have our four arc lights that looks like this looks like the arc lights they all did pretty minimal damage on the last round. So we pretty much had the rays clearing chaff, clearing the medium units, and taking care of the Wraiths. A little bit surprised the opponent didn't go Lightning Storm, but if you went Lightning Storm in the middle, he could have gotten the Arc Lights, could have gotten maybe a couple packs of the level 1 Wasp, but I think for level 2, Rays, I think for level 2 Rays with the shield, they're probably just going to only take away the shield. So it's an example of a pretty easy game from the Ray spam perspective. Back in the early days of Ray spam, almost every game would be like this, and it just kept, you could win against everyone except for the top 10 or 30 players in the world, and you could just get away with doing this. Now more and more players are correctly responding to Ray spam, so it's getting less and less easy to get games like this, but we got lucky here, and it's always fun to just have your units completely um, obliterate everything, and a wave of rays is the most beautiful thing to see. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed this one, and hopefully some of your ray games will go like this. See you in the next one.